Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to an established member of the world-renowned Elevation Fight Team. She is a mixed martial artist. She is the one and only Byelka Bam Bam Soto. Byelka, what's going on?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. Not much. I'm just chilling right here, waiting for my strength and conditioning class, joining you. Thank you for having me.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Wait, so you are essentially in the midst of doing badass shit, and then you're like, oh, I'll do a podcast in between, and then I will go back to being a badass.
Pretty much. Right? That's pretty much how the schedule works. You know what I mean? You have to get the extra stuff in between workouts and in between work, so you just got to make it happen.
Absolutely. And it's funny because like people will look at like an Instagram page or when the UFC or Bellator and Invicta are, you know, doing their thing, and they're like, oh, it's so easy. But the amount of sacrifice that it makes, you know, for the fighters and everybody involved, it's a lot of preparation that goes into it. So, I mean, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I was actually just thinking about that this morning because I did an interview for Combat News not so long ago, and they asked me to talk about my career, and I forgot to even mention my job because, you know, I have kids. I have 3 kids. I have a husband, you know, and I'm working out, you know, training for a fight actually. So, yeah, I have to wake up super early to make time to be able to train during the, you know, before I get my kids ready for school, and then I call it a 9 to 5 job, but they're very lenient with me since they know I'm a fighter. You know, I'm kind of able to build my own schedule right now, thankfully. So I kind of go for a training session, go back to work, change to my jeans, and, you know, they kind of gave me a little promotion right now in my job. So now I'm like putting on my work boots and heading to the gym. So it's just crazy, and a lot of people think it's easy to do, you know, but having a family and everything, it gets a little complicated, but it just depends on how bad do you want it to make it happen. Because let me tell you, I've tried quitting a couple of times where I'm like, fuck this, it's too much.
Yeah.
But am I
no,
allowed to
yes, bring it.
Okay.
Dale. Come on, dale.
Yeah, so, you know, it's not easy. And to those girls who are able to train all day, you know, damn, that's a blessing for them. Because right now I'm not able to leave my job to be able to train all day. I got to feed my kids.
No, 1,000%. And shout out to Combat News, Gary Brown. That's a good brother there. So shout out to, and also Joel Rojas is you on his podcast. So I just love that you're making the rounds and all these incredible people in the combat sports world. But again, like you said, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? You've got kids, you've got a husband, you've got to feed your kids. So I guess, like, why is it so important to you? And, like, how did you first become aware of combat sports?
So I wrestled in high school. I was a trouble kid in high school. So one of my teachers there told me there was a wrestling team, you know, and I honestly thought that was just for guys. But my freshman year, I started wrestling, and I fell in love with it. You know, I've always been so aggressive, and, you know, I would fight as a kid, and I was down to do it. So I joined the wrestling team my freshman year, and, you know, placed in district only my freshman year, and every year I kept doing better. So my senior year, I took a Texas State championship. So
yeah.
I was, you know, when I graduated, I was like, that's it. I need more mat time. And I actually had got a scholarship for Wayland Baptist University, but,
yeah.
You know, being young and stupid, I was like, I chose to party over that. And now I regret it so much because, you know, who knows what would have happened, but I'm still here. So um, I actually went to a boxing gym in my hood in Texas,
Yeah.
and there ended up being an MMA gym there. So I started training with them, and within a month, they told me there was a girl for me to fight, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm down. You know, that's
Yeah.
what I'm here for." So I actually sold tickets in high school. I hadn't even graduated yet, and the funny thing about this is that the fight was behind the strip club, and the strippers were the round girls. So it was it was super good. I was like, "Damn, those are some big titties."
Well, theoretically speaking, right? I mean, nothing against, right? But I mean, most
No,
local promotions, that's the ring girls. Like, if
right.
not everywhere, like in Tupelo, Mississippi, you're not going to find models and whatever pre Instagram, right? So, yeah, strip club, right on. Let's do it. You want to
Strippers,
make an extra $200? Right on. Let's do it. You know?
right. So
So,
that was back in 2011. Um, and I took a lot. Obviously, I got pregnant. My oldest is 8 years old. Then I have a 7 year old and a 5 year old. Nobody told me about TVs back then. Okay.
I mean, more power, and they're bundles of joy. Come on, like, yeah, of course, right?
Don't say it like it's all rainbows and unicorns. Okay, bundles of joy. They could be a pain in the ass too. I'm like, Lord, you're testing me.
Yep, I know. LOL, she's funny. Yeah, and Robert Timerson of Free Admission Media says I worked at a strip club when I was in high school. See, so
Wow.
you see, it's all circular. I'm just saying, you know. And Robert, he does the videography for Submission on the Shore, the live streams, and all that jazz. So
Nice.
again, I think stripping and MMA, they kind of go hand in hand. I'm just saying.
Yeah, once you win a fight, you go, make it rain.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, I mean, obviously, you know, you have this wrestling pedigree, and I love those little outliers, right? Like if DC had medaled in, you know, Daniel Cormier had medaled in the Olympics, right? Would he have gone to do what he did in MMA? If Ronda
Right.
Rousey had gotten any more than a bronze medal in the Olympics, would she be as big as she got in MMA and in WWE and stuff like that? So that's the thing. Although you're like, oh man, I didn't get to, I didn't go to the college and whatever that I had the scholarship for and all that jazz. Like it still worked out.
Right. And I feel like sometimes, like they say, you hit rock bottom to have to go back up. And I'm not saying I hit rock bottom or anything, but I was just like, what now? And it's just kind of the decision you make going forward. Like, is this all you want, or are you gonna keep pushing for it? And for me right now, it's been kind of more of a push because I have a family, and I always bring that up because a lot of times I don't think that coaches or other fighters understand that you know sometimes I can't make training because my kid is sick, and
Right.
um, my husband helps me out a lot with my kids and all of that, but um, I'm mom. I've been there for them all the time. You're freaking me out.
No, you're good. No, you're good. The dog is barking. I'm trying to tell my kid to like
Like,
let that fool
take
go.
them away.
Yeah. Pinchi perro. Anyway, you were saying.
um, Now I lost my train of thought.
No, but you were saying, you know, how the expectations of like, you know, your coaches are like, you got to be here, blah, blah, blah. You got to show me your effort, but your kid is sick. Like, what the, you
Yeah,
know?
so I've actually hopped around a few gyms here in Colorado, and I finally feel like I found the team where I'm gonna grow and I'm gonna elevate, and the reasons why I've moved around is because they had expectations for me that you know I want to meet their expectations, but I also have a household, and right now fighting does not feed me.
Right.
So I have to be able to work around that to be able to support my family and to be able to do what I want to do, which is fight. And I'm gonna keep pushing until that's my day job. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And that's as a kind of votary, as a mom, right? You want to do,
Hmm.
you and your husband are doing everything that you can to provide a better life for them, because every generation should be a little bit better than the one last, right? Right. You
Right.
should be better than your parents, your kids better than you. That's just the way that things go, right? So with that all being said, there are times where, again, like the synergy, right, of
Hmm.
a team, right? And I love what you did there. It's like I to be elevated, because you're with Elevation Fight Team in Colorado, high elevation. Love
Ooh,
what you
I
do
should be
there.
a rapper. Just
I'm
kidding.
just saying, I grew up in Inglewood. The only thing I can rap is presence, so maybe. Like, I'm like, here, kid, like, you're present, there you go. No, but I mean, and it's funny because you were saying, like, right in the, like, almost the start of your career and also the start of your motherhood, they're almost like neck and neck with each other. Did you have the fight first, or did you have the kid first, or don't tell me you
Well,
had the
now
kid
you're
in the
making
middle of
me
the ring.
wonder, was I pregnant while I fought? Just kidding.
I was like, don't have the baby in the ring. I mean,
So I might have made the baby after my fight. I'm not too sure,
10 points.
but yeah, it's been, I had my first kid and I wanted to go back to the gym, and then I got pregnant right away,
Hmm.
and the third one was like, really, what the hell? So right after that, I was like, okay, somebody please tie my tubes, burn them, cut them, do anything you can with them. And I'm ready to go back, to fighting because I gained so much weight. I was at 185 pounds when I went back to the gym after having all three of my kids. And
Wow.
the coach there told me, you should be fighting at 135. I'm like, I wrestled at 148 in high school. So I'm like, I've never been that low. I don't think I've ever been as low as 135. But my first fight back, we did it. I cut down to 135, and it was such a great, good cut. No struggle. So that's why I'm sticking with that. But I mean, so far so good.
So far, so good. Absolutely. Which, I mean, that can be a bit of, adversity. Trying to get. I mean, as a woman, right, having
Hmm.
babies, you can get postpartum. You know, baby weight, all that stuff. And those are things that they talk about strong mind, strong will. Well, those are things that can kind of like bring you down, right? Bring the
Hmm.
mentality down and everything. So by you being able to come back after, obviously those are life stuff, but in terms of fights, where those are kind of like, oh, scarlet letters, right? So by you coming back, and as strongly as you did, what did you learn about yourself then that you didn't know before?
Um, I learned that I actually believe in myself. I always thought, that I couldn't do much, but I'm like, I, I'm my biggest, what do you say, how do you call it? Like, um,
Critic?
the, yeah, like I always tell myself, oh, I can't do this. But literally when I'm running, I'm like, bitch, you got this. Like, don't stop running, keep going. So I learned that nobody else in this world, no matter who it is going to push me as hard as I could push myself, because anybody could tell me do it, but it's going to be up to me at the end of the day if I want to do it or not. So, you know, my husband had a lot to do with it, because if he wouldn't have supported me going back to the gym,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have done it in the first place, because we had a family already.
Right.
But him giving me the thumbs up and going for it, then me just saying, fuck it, let's go, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That constant support system, that's amazing. Like, my wife is literally handling chaos like off the screen right now. Just so I know, and having that supportive spouse, like, that's absolutely crucial. Which, I mean, does your husband train?
He doesn't at all. So I mean, marriage is it's crazy. So sometimes we have our ups, we have our downs, but he's stuck with me. He's stuck with me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that he no matter how hard things have gotten, he's there and he'll support it all the way. And there's times like last week that I was like, fuck this, I'm weight cutting, so I'm being a big bitch right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this for? And he's like, just stop, because you're gonna continue doing it. So just, suck it up and do it.
There you go. Shout out to the hubby. I'm just saying. And Don McGuire of the Fighter's Voice, he says, I loved your fight with Nika Dimitrieva. How much value did you take away from that outing?
Um, it it was a big win for me because those were some of the girls. Well, one of the girls that you look at, and I'm not a buff girl that you think I'm so muscular and strong. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. But again, that's when I was like, you got this, bitch. And me
Yeah.
getting that arm bar, I was like, I'd never really trained jujitsu. It was more coming from a wrestling background and, trying to transition into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh shit, somebody give me my black belt, please.
But that's dope, though. I mean, and not just to, again, like you said, physically imposing, and you're like, almost like a David and Goliath type kind of struggle, right? Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that you slayed the dragon, theoretically, you slayed the dragon. I mean, even her name sounds scary. Holy hell. Not even like the picture that she has on Tapology. She's just a badass. And then being able to finish with an armbar, like, fuck, get that shit. Like, black belt, come on. I don't want no stripe. Don't give me no stripe. That's a finish, coach, professor. Come on.
I'm like, where is it?
Oh man. So I gotta ask, like, as a wrestler, right? Obviously you went for boxing, so that was going to be a little bit of a change of
Mm-hmm.
ethos, right? Grappling to striking, but then you found MMA. So do you feel, I mean, you've got a lot of submissions on your record.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular thing that you gravitate more to, maybe like early on in your career versus now, or just in general?
Early in my career, I think on my amateur fights, I was kind of just going to grapple people. I kind of just went for the takedown because that's where I felt safe, But now I feel like I'm becoming all around fighter where I could, stand on my feet and not want to shoot and, keep it on the ground. I feel like I'm more confident with my hands. I'm actually training with J-Ho at Pound for Pound now. That's where I do my striking. And, I've been with him for a short period of time, but I see the improvement, and he makes sure to tell me, if I'm fucking up, he'll tell me. And if I'm improving, he will tell me. And that's what I appreciate the most from Elevation, my coach, Valor, that they don't bullshit you. They're not going to tell you you're the best out there, or they're not going to tell you there's no room for growth. They are straight up and they tell you, this is what you're lacking on. So that's what I love about these gyms right now, that they will always try to give me some feedback to improve, not to just be okay with, But back to your question, I right now I think it was grappling, and now I think I'm good anywhere.
No, that's awesome. No, and I mean, fuck, Elevation Fight Team. Like, talk about badasses. Like, some of the best fighters in the world come out of that gym. So you talked about the kind of trying out different gyms, in Colorado, but also you're a Texas girl, right? You're a Texas girl, and the move to Colorado. Like, what prompted it? Was it for fighting or?
No, so it was just right after I got pregnant, actually. I lived a crazy life, like I mentioned. I didn't go to college because I was partying and living the crazy life. So once I got pregnant, I told my husband, I was like, we need to get out of here, or we're not going to do anything for ourselves. We're not going to better our life. So that's when I was pregnant with my son, that's when we moved. It was 8 years ago. So
Wow.
I had no clue that I was gonna continue fighting, but once I did, I kind of just Googled gyms. I Googled some gyms around me, and I started off at AFA Boxing.
Right.
And it was just a boxing gym. They really didn't have any MMA. And as I fought, I realized that I needed, more all around training than just boxing. So I started looking, I checked out Factory X. I went to Grinders Fitness. I went to DCO MMA. And then finally I came to Elevation. And, all the girl fighters we have there, they're amazing. They're amazing training partners. Um, Sometimes I'm a sucky. If you guys are listening,
Yeah.
I know I'm a shitty partner sometimes because I'm like, I don't know how to measure my strength, and I'm like, I'm sorry for like, but right now I feel like I'm in the best gym I could be, and I feel like after my fight on April 30th, we're I'm just so excited for what's coming this year, being in a great team and getting the training I'm getting, the coaching I'm getting. You all need to follow me and stay tuned because big things are coming.
I agree. I did, and I'm glad I did. So you guys go ahead and check
Thank
out
you.
Byelka and all of her social medias. But Hazardous Lifestyle, Amelia Rare Breed says Texas, baby. Shout out to Emilio.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, I feel like I almost when you do this, then you want to go like Derek Lewis. Like I feel like Derek Lewising it. I don't know. And
King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Just kidding.
yeah, dude, I didn't know what the hell that was until like the Rogan podcast. I was just like, what is, and then I was like, King Kong. And I was like, you gotta do it in slow motion. I was like, what, like,
What
I
is
don't
he
know.
doing?
I don't know. And then I don't know. It works. He loves Popeye's chicken, and he's one where he don't give a damn. Like title, no title, I don't give a shit. Pay me and whatever. Give me Popeyes. Fuck yeah, Derek Lewis all the way. So Texas, fuck yeah, Texas.
Texas, hell yeah.
Yeah. You kind of alluded to it, but Don McGuire wants to know, what made you choose Elevation over Factory X?
So Factory X, I didn't train for a long period of time. I went to just, you get those free days where you could go and check out the gym and see if you fit in. I felt like it wasn't my fit just because there was so many bodies there that I felt like I wasn't gonna get as an amateur. I felt like I wasn't gonna get the attention that I needed to be able to grow to the next level because there was already so many fighters ahead of me. Where their attention was focused on. So that's why I went to smaller, like local
Yeah.
gyms where there wasn't that many people, but I knew I was gonna grow. So recently, when I went to Elevation, I felt like I was at a point where I know what I bring to the table as well. So I feel like I talked to my coach Valor straight up, and I told him what my goals were, and he told me to come and check out the gym and see what I thought to see if I was a fit for them and if they were a fit for me. And I loved it. The sparring, the training, the drilling is just the accountability, I guess, because they don't tell you you need to be here. It's like up to me, like if you want to grow, you have to fucking make time to those trainings because nobody's gonna make you be here if you don't want to. You have to want it. So basically they give me that ability to be a mom, a wife, a worker, and still be a fighter to how I want. I
Yeah.
can't complain about the schedule they're giving me. I have to work it out my way.
No, 100%. And that's the one thing that I mean, that's one of the many things why I love combat sports, right? Everybody
Mhm.
thinks that they have oh, it's the same story as everyone. I grew up watching it. Well, it's not, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you love it. Sometimes you just kind of happen to be there, right? And then also if you're at a gym, the synergy. you are a part of family unions, and you and your
Hmm.
husband, it's crazy, but you got to work together. Your kids,
Right.
crazy, got to work together. Your job, crazy, work together, right? And that's almost like kind of like chaotic synergy that you need in a gym, for that. And the fact that, again, this world class gym is like, hey, do what you do, we'll do what we do, and we'll create a champion.
And yeah, and what made me appreciate this team and my coach the most was that one of the days we were drilling, he said he wanted to get to know us, that he didn't want to see us or for us to look at each other as a transaction. He said,
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet your husband. I want to meet your kids. I want you to tell me how your day is going. I want you to tell me how you're feeling. I want to know about you. But, at first when you're trying to fit into a gym, you're like, oh, what do I say? And I'm a goofy ass, so I'm like, what's okay
Yes.
to say around here? So, but now, I feel great. I feel at home at this gym, and they're not getting rid of me anymore. So even if they wanted to, I'm staying.
Yeah, that's it. Even if you have to, I don't know. I was gonna say John Jones, but that's not cool to say, right? Like hiding under John is awesome. I'm just saying. And Don Rugari says, being from Texas, how hard is it to stay away from barbecue and the El Pastor tacos?
Shit. I don't even. It's not just that. Staying away from Mexican food. Period.
Period.
you know. Um. It's hard. It's hard to stay away during weight cuts, but I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah, it's funny, and that's a weight cutting thing. I mean, I remember there was a time when I first started my career, and I was helping put together promo videos, right? And
Hmm.
uh, it was me and Bosun Wang, who is the videographer, and we were getting to the gym and whatever. And Thor Skanky, he was in the middle of fight camp and everything like that. But we were so hungry, and right off of the freeway was a fucking In and Out. Yo, we went to the fucking In and Out, and then we are like going to the 7-Eleven and getting scope and just like gargling that shit because we're like, here's a fighter doing a weight cut, and our fucking breath smells like onions. This is not going to be good, right?
I know weight cutting is like, let me at least smell your breath, please.
Yeah. Demogorgon says she sneaks tacos. You're not going to confirm, nor deny that. I'm just saying.
Next question,
Next,
please.
next question, right? No, oh man, it's funny because like even cardboard, like in a weight cut, like cardboard, sprinkle some sugar and some salsa, you're like, fuck it, I'll eat it. Like
I'll
that's
take
just a
it. Give
weight
me
cut,
two of them,
yeah.
please.
Do it, do it. No, I mean, and I'm kind of the same way. Like my wife, she doesn't watch MMA, pro wrestling, or whatever. She likes it because it's what I do. But is she going to sit
Right.
down and watch like UFC 1 through 265? Probably not. Like, and who's going to do that? So, being that your husband is kind of away from the sport in terms of activity, um, is it kind of cool that it gives you like, because sometimes when you're in that fight life, your gym, your friends are all in the gym and fight life and everything. Is it cool just to kind of step away from it sometimes and just go like, hey, there's a world outside of fighting?
Yeah, but the funny thing, my husband doesn't fight or anything, but he does watch fights. Ever since I
Ah,
started fighting, he buys the fight, every pay-per-view fight. Saturday nights, my parents come over, or we watch them together. So we're in the living room, and I'll go choke him out, and we start wrestling in the living room. So it's like he's part of it, and me being at the gym, I honestly don't have time to kind of stay after training, or come early to talk to the girls, or you know what I mean. And sometimes I feel like I'm missing out a little bit on all of that, but I honestly don't have the time to. I have to go in and leave and do what I have to do. But you know what I mean? Like, so I don't,
yeah.
not everything that I do on the daily basis for me right now is all fighting. I have to be able to be doing my job and caring for the kids and all of that. So a lot of the time is not just fighting.
Wait, you're not like, fuck this, boss. I'm a fighter. I'm out. No?
Give me a day off or I'll kick your ass. Just kidding.
You said that a little bit too well for me to think you're lying about it. I'm just saying.
No, they know, they support my what I do at work too, so they're pretty cool.
Yeah, hey, that's awesome. You know what? It's funny because it actually came up on my Facebook memories where Gabe Green, who's now in the UFC, he was fighting for Combate Americas at the time,
Uh-huh.
and now it's Combate Global. But um, Gabe knew my boss at the job that I was working, right? And I was like doing interviews and everything, and I was going to fucking call off. Well, my boss and his wife's friends come to the fight. And I'm like, and I literally post, and I was like, I guess I'm not fucking calling out tomorrow.
You're like, fuck it.
Fuck it. Yeah, I was like, I'm just saying, sorry, Mario. I'm not with the company anymore. So I get, fuck it, whatever. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Do any of your kids kind of show an interest in like, hey, mom's doing some cool shit? Let me do some cool shit, or is it just the thing that mom does?
No, they like it. All three of them. I'm actually getting them started in a jujitsu school right now.
Ooh.
My oldest, he got punched in the face last week, and I was like, "Look, son, let me tell you." No, he got punched, and you don't. I don't know if you're a parent, you understand the feeling you get when that happens, to your kids if it's happened. But I tell my kid, I teach him. We have a bag in our garage, and I teach him how to throw his punches and everything. So I told him, I was like, why didn't you hit him back? And my husband asked him, what were you thinking when he punched you? And he was like, the innocence of a kid. He's like, Mom, I was thinking it hurt. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God. I was like, poor kid, But I'm glad that they like it because I want them to be able to defend themselves. And I also tell my kids, I'm like, you don't start a fight. I'm like, but if they pick on you, you better finish that shit because if you don't, I'm gonna finish you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I remember, biracial. My dad's African descendant of slaves. My mom is from Fiji, right? And we lived in a large like Vietnamese and Latino. There was people from El Salvador, Ecuador, Mexico, what have you, right? But every time that Chavez Sr., right? Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., that was one of my idols, still one of my idols. Anytime there was a boxing fight, everybody, like we put like literally in the courtyard, we put whoever had the best TV, the biggest TV, whatever, and everybody made food, drinks, everything, right? Then all of the dads, we'd be like, okay, fight's over, or especially like Tyson fights. They paid $60. The shit lasted 30 seconds. They're like, okay, fine. And they would get us kids and like, fuck, you guys are fighting now.
Fight
right?
each other.
Yeah. So I remember I was okay. And I got popped by this kid, Kenny. I got popped in the fucking eye and I started to cry and I went into the fucking house. Said, listen, motherfucker, you beat the fuck out of him or I'm going to beat the fuck out of you. That's all I needed. And I went out there and fucking KO'd Kenny in front of his dad. Fuck yeah, Dad.
You're like, fuck you, Kenny.
Yeah. Oh, Kenny. Oh, that was my mortal enemy at the time. There was a point where he was taunting me and whatever. And then it was right around Halloween, right? So I think I had like G.I. Joes or wrestling figures or whatever. And Kenny tried to steal it. And I fucking took the pumpkin that was the jack-o'-lantern, whatever. And I fucking right on Kenny and made him into Jack Skeleton. So there's that.
Shout out to Kenny. Just kidding.
Yeah, shout out to Kenny. He's not dead. Not like the other Colorado Kenny, right? Yeah. So in terms of, like the motivation, right? Because you're doing a lot of things, right? You're working, you're a mother, you're a wife, but you also have your own dreams, right? So what keeps you motivated? Is there things that you're listening to songs you're listening to, things that you're watching that you like keep you in the game, or you're just like, fuck it, I don't have time for any of that. I'm too far in. I can't give up now.
Um, I think a lot of it is I'm too far in. I feel like I've taken away like too much time from my kids training. So since I came back um in 2017, I just been training, been at the gym. Um, I got two jobs to be able to do training because if when you're just amateur, you're not making any money off of fighting. You're actually spending more money than what you're making.
Mm.
So I had to get, a second job to be able to afford me fighting and for me to be able to, you know, support my family. So what kept me going is, I'm taking all this time away from my kids for me to say, oh, fuck it, I'm throwing in the towel. Like, no, now I'm like, that drives me more to say, I'm gonna fucking, make it to the UFC. That's my first goal, obviously. And then, then I want to be a champion one day. So that's what drives me, my kids, because I tell them I'm gonna be in the UFC, and every time I have a fight, my oldest son is like, "Mommy, is it for the UFC?" And I'm like, "Not yet, son. Give me a minute."
Are any of your kids gamers?
Oh, yeah, my oldest son. He says he wants to be a gamer, and I'm like, "Oh goodness."
Let me pose a scenario to you, Byelka. What if your son becomes a professional gamer and he basically does it by playing the UFC video game? And you know what character he chooses? His mom. How about that?
Okay, well, maybe I like that.
Does he get an extra hour? Is what I'm saying? Does he get an extra hour a day?
If he vacuumed too, just kidding.
Oh, okay. Hey, no. Yeah, like just kidding, but really though.
But really
Vacuum.
though,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I'm like Romeo, and then he'll be like, I'm like Romeo, fuck, Romeo,
Yes.
put that shit down. I'm
Which
like,
Romeo,
Jesus
if you're listening, if you want an extra game time, go onto the UFC, create a fighter, and create your mom. Yo, just saying. Just saying. We might work some shit out. So Romeo, stay in school, sir. Good deal. All right. Now, now, obviously, with you're training at Elevation Fight Team. Alistair Overeem's there. There's a lot of world class fighters. So, in terms of like, do you get a point where like maybe this is like too much for me or whatever? Does it get? Because I remember the first time like I stepped into a jiu-jitsu gym, it's totally like nerve wracking. Like and just seeing like everybody throw each other. And if you don't know, now you obviously you've wrestled before, you kind of know the deal, the mats, what is done there. But do you kind of get like, oh shit, I'm at Elevation Fight Team. I'm wearing I'm literally wearing the colors. Like I gotta fucking show out for my team.
Yeah, actually lately Usman has been there, just walking around like a champion and shit, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm training with top-notch fighters out here, And at first, when I started training there, when the first sparring days that I showed up to the gym, I was nervous, like as nervous like before a fight, nervous because I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I don't know who I'm going with and all of that, but now they're so welcoming there. You get there and coaches come and talk to you, and if they're watching while you're sparring, they give you some feedback. So I feel like I said, I feel like I'm where I belong right now, and I see nothing but growth coming from me being at this gym, and it's thanks to the people around me, because I guess it depends a lot on the people you surround yourself with to know where you're going.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I just don't appreciate where I have got. I came a long way looking back, because a lot, like I said, I'm my biggest critic. But if I look back to even last year, a few months ago, I'm like, wow, like I've made a huge step to my fight career. So I mean, I love it.
Yeah, you gotta love this shit. You really do, right? So I want to know in terms of obviously, and it's kind of fun because friend of the show, Chantel Coach, that was your last MMA win, right? And
Mhm.
then you had back in 2018, and then you had a boxing match later that year, won that one. But 2020, like what was obviously before COVID, like did you have, kind of like I want to take a fight maybe here and what have you? Like what was 2020, looking like at like maybe December 31st, 2019 for you? Like what were you looking to accomplish?
I was trying to get fights. Honestly, I was hitting people up. Um, and I was actually gonna fight one of my teammates, Claire, and that didn't go through because she actually fights for Invicta. So
Right.
the promotion we were gonna fight for was a local promotion. So she ended up taking that fight. Don't blame her. Um, but sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm like, what?
No, but
Um,
you were so you said you were trying to get fights. You were trying to fight Claire, which would have been weird. Like that
but
would have been weird.
we weren't in the same team though. We
Okay.
weren't in the same team yet. Yeah, so I was fighting out of DCO, and she was in Elevation. But yeah, we after that got canceled, I got a that boxing match, and then we kept looking for fights. I actually was having a hard time getting an opponent for my pro debut, and my manager Lamont with LCA Sports Management, he's been trying to get me something for forever, and
Yeah.
finally I got something scheduled April 30th. Um, which I didn't think an amateur record really mattered once you go professional, but it does, obviously, because I wasn't able to get anything until now, and I stayed at the gym, maybe not as consistent because I knew, it was hard for me to stay focused and motivated when I knew something wasn't cooking, like,
Yeah.
but once I went to Elevation, I was like, I have to put in what I want to get out of it. So
Right. And here
here
we
we are
are.
with a fight schedule.
That's it. So, I mean, how does this come down? Like, does Lamont got to tell you, hey, we got to fight? Because right now, uh, we've had a deal, especially in California. Like, I literally have the California state amateur title here, right? And a lot of amateurs, not just here, but all around the US because of COVID, they actually had to turn pro just to get a
Mhm.
fight. Like the amateur scene had pretty much died off, right? So the fact that did it help a little bit that like maybe you were already looking to turn pro that like, hey, here's this fight coming up, like,
Well, my boxing match was professional already, so I
oh,
had
okay,
no choice. Yeah, so I have to do my pro debut as MMA. Um, Lamont reached out to me. I think it was like June um, of 2020.
mm-hmm.
And he signed me on. He asked me what my goals were, and I told him, for a female fighter, I think a big goal is to be signed on to Invicta.
Yeah,
And he did it. He as soon as I signed with LCA, he signed me on to Invicta a few months later. But there was no show scheduled for them. They kept pushing everything back, and there was other fights that Lamont talked to me about, but that they thought that since it was my first fight, we had to be smart about it. So I honestly lean a lot on my coaches and my managers so we could talk about all of this just because I'm up and coming. So a lot of things are new to me where I want feedback just to know, I ask for other opinions just to know what if I'm doing the right thing.
but it's good. It's good because again, as a fighter, yeah, and I sometimes get it when I'll like, oh, do you want to come on the podcast? And they're like, oh, give me a manager and whatever, right? And at
Hmm.
first, I'm like, like some managers can be kind of swarmy, but I get it. The
Hmm.
plight of the fighter, right? You're trying
Hmm.
to juggle your living situation. You try to pay your gym dues, right? You have to have some sort of career, right? There's a lot of stuff, right, where maybe you can't get to a social media or you can't return a message and what have you, and that's where like managers are there, and again, to reach those goals, especially if you've got one that, I mean, I know, I think it's pretty common knowledge. I won't say this particular management company, right? They're like, I want to say 70%, if not 90% of all of the UFC cards that have happened this year, and even LFA, they've all been signed to this management company. I just saying, and it's weird. And, like let's just say a former LFA champion, Lupe Godinez, right? Sat for damn near a year, won the LFA title, right? Sat for a year, she signs to a company. She's fighting next week or this weekend.
This weekend, yep.
Yeah, this weekend. Just saying. But I will say, shout out to Jason House. Yeah, no, it's kind of I wouldn't say weird, right? Because the fight business is exactly that, right? It's a business, right? So obviously it's easier when you have people that have connections to where you want to go, just like Lamont, you spoke, you put it into existence. I want to fight for Invicta, right? I want to fight for Invicta. Bam, Lamont works his magic because he's probably had people similar to you that want to fight there and created relationships. So it's also cool that you have somebody that is your advocate in the things that you want in your fight life, and same thing with your coaches. You have advocates, like you want to be this, you want to be faster, you want to be stronger. Well, that's your strength and conditioning coach. You want to be better at jiu-jitsu, you want to be better at striking. Well, that's your grappling and striking coach. So it's cool with all the things that you're doing to have somebody to have your best interests and take you where you want to go.
Yep, it is. And sometimes I suck at communication, and that's what's cool about them, because I have a nutrition coach, Gigi, that, she's like, girl, checking in, what's your weight at? And I'm like, oh, 6 hours later, oh, I'm good, and it's good to know that they care, because sometimes I forget to hit them up, honestly, and it's not because I don't want to, but it's because, I'm driving around. Sometimes I'm changing my pants while I'm in the stoplight. I'm like, oh crap, I need to go back to work, but having that backup, and sometimes having a bad day, I message Lamont and I'm like, oh, I had a bad day sparring today, and he'll just tell me like not what I want to hear, but how it is. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go cry about it at home.
Now, to your nutritionist, do you ever clap back and go like, here's a donut, and just Google a picture of a donut and send it back there?
No, because this is my first camp with her that I work with Gigi, and I'm trying to go like straight with the plan, because I don't want to mess anything up with her right now. So I'm getting to know her, getting to work with her. So
I don't know. I'd say still Google a picture of a donut and text it to her. I'm like, on weight, coach.
On the scale, she's gonna be like, bitch, that does not look on weight.
Oh man, it's weird with body, right? Because there's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of fighters even, right, that look at like, that maybe haven't fought before, right? But they're fighters, right? And they're like, I want to look like that, and it's a picture of somebody at weigh-ins. Like, no, you don't want to look like that. That's somebody close to death. That's skin and bones. Why do you want to do that? Like, no. Don't
you don't want to do that.
Just
I'm like, the abs are peeking out, girl, but it's because I'm dehydrated.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't get no tortas, man. Fuck. Damn it.
Seriously.
Which I gotta ask. Like, Don McGuire says I can drop a line and a hint to Invicta FC. Hey, why the hell not? He's photographed like almost every Invicta card, so why not, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Why not? Now, I gotta ask, because even though it was amateur, you're a tenured vet, right? And obviously a lot of weight cutting and everything. Do you have a favorite victory meal?
Um,
Dun, dun,
just
dun.
one.
Okay.
Because I remember this one time when I fought in Georgia. I went to Hooters. I love fried stuff.
Okay.
So fried pickles, wings. But the must is a michelada. Do you know what that
Michelada.
is?
Fuck yeah. Yes. I live in LA. Come on, Armada. I know what a fucking michelada is.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
all sipping on one over there.
Yeah. Shh. Don't tell nobody. Shh.
Yeah, but
Although,
that's
no, go ahead,
go ahead.
because I know I was saying on the like the podcast I just did, I probably told a story of where I might have taken an edible and slept under the Bellator cage. Just saying.
I can't do edibles. I'll fall asleep.
No, that's what I did for 8 hours under the Bellator cage. Didn't know it.
Who found you?
Blake Troop, who fights in LFA, and yeah, Blake Troop. He was like, "Bro, we got to get out of here," and he fucking whisked me
All
away.
your babas were right here. You were like, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. He was like, "I am by the cage. Come at me." I literally roll, and I'm a lightweight. I'm a lightweight. Even though I grew up in Inglewood, I'm not badass at all. I'm not badass at all. Never joined a gang. No drug. No, none of it. Right? Barely even drank. But I hit one edible, and the only thing that I knew was Joe Rogan saying that Joey Diaz has a 500 milligram, and that's way too much. So when I get 125, I was just like, that's way less. And again, 8 hours later, I'm rolling out of the Bellator, like from under it. Nobody said anything. I was just fucking sleep under the Bellator cage.
You were like down here, man.
I fucking rolled out, and he's like, "We're going." And he drove me 4 hours home, presented me to my wife, and it was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, fuck, I didn't. I thought he smoked, like whatever. Here you go." Oh, and the best thing was like, I didn't have a car at the time. We took an Uber to take my son to school, our youngest son to school, right? And then I was gonna go to work after, and we're in the car, and I sneezed, and I thought I got over it. That shit was like Celine Dion. It was all coming back to me now. Like I fucking sneezed and oh shit. Yeah.
You're like, oh, where am I going?
It wasn't good. Byelka, I tell you, it wasn't good. And I went to work that day. Don't remember it.
But you still went though. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly. Yeah, damn right. Working matters. Man, if they drug tested, good lord. That shit would have been like rainbow colors.
Sir, what the fuck did you take?
Everything apparently. I don't know. A cage. I don't know. Now, obviously, April 30th. April 30th. That's coming. Like, I mean, we're like 16 days away. Give us the dates. Where's the fight happening? Where are you doing it?
So my fight will be in Miami, Florida. I'm not allowed to say the promotion yet,
Okay.
but the Monday of the fight week, April 30th, I will be posting on my Instagram and my Facebook, all of that stuff. So if you guys are not following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me. It's going to be, I just feel like my first fights as a professional, I need to make a statement.
Yeah.
So I get to where I need to be, and I feel like all of you guys can miss it. It's going to be, I set goals for myself and I'm going to fucking reach them. So I'm excited. I'm not allowed to say much, but April 30th, guys.
Hell yes. Well, the thing about it is the fact of the matter is we get to cheer you on in your goals, right? And obviously last year was fucking horrendous for everybody. Anybody that fucking was like 2020 was awesome. Hey, go fuck off, man. People died. People lost their jobs.
Perfect life.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Right. But I mean, it's cool that we get to see you accomplish your dreams because so to it, if we watch you, we're living vicariously through you. And that's where I think fights, entertainment, all that is the best, right?
Mhm.
Not everybody has to be a fighter, but if you are overcoming so much to get into the fight and fucking live your dream, well, guess what? That's going to motivate so many other people to do the same thing, whether that be being an accountant, making a shit ton of money in Dogecoin. I don't know. Like, whatever the fuck that is, do that, right? And we get to cheer you on at a time where there's a lot of negativity around. We can be like, here's somebody who's doing some awesome shit. Let's cheer them on.
Yeah, and not just cheer me on, but know that I have a whole life outside of fighting, and I'm able to do it. So I'm sure that anybody else that wants or has a dream that said, "Oh fuck it, it can happen." Yeah, it can. You just got to put the time into it. And sometimes it takes dedication. But sometimes if you want it that bad, then stay up those extra hours or wake up early those extra hours. That way you could get it done. But you could get it done. Like it's how much you want it, and anybody could reach their goals or whatever dreams they have. I'm thankful for everybody who's following my journey so they could know how it starts, because it's not all, like you said, it's not rainbows and unicorns. It's a hell of a ride. And I tell my husband, I'm like, dude, you need to be recording everything I do, so when I am big, they could know, like, 5 p.m. she took a shit. Just kidding.
Just kidding, but not really. Like, for real,
But not
though.
really.
Yeah, just saying. Now, obviously, ride with you, right? So, obviously, there have been a lot of people, both professionally and personally, that have been riding with you since day one. Those day
Yep.
one motherfuckers, right? So, take as long as you need. Let's get some shout outs out of the way, Byelka.
Yes. Shout out to my wrestling coach. First of all, Donald Gwynn. He's the one who got me started in all of this. So shout out to him. Shout out to Gabe Subia. He was one of my coaches in the MMA gym I started off in Texas. Um, Fucker would eat in front of me while I was weight cutting.
Son of a
Um,
bitch.
Son of a bitch. Um, my parents, obviously, for supporting me all the way. My sisters, my husband, my kids, for being so young and understanding why I'm away from home so much. Um, and that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to give a hearty shout out to your sister, your actual hermana,
Yes.
Estrella, who's a burgeoning photographer who literally donated the very picture that was included in all the posts. So shout out to Estrella.
Oh yeah, don't let me forget her. She's gonna be like, "How dare you!"
No, I'm not going to let you go like that. Hell no. Now, obviously, again, we don't know. It might be a secret location, what goes down in Miami on April 30th. But for those who want to know, as soon as it drops, where can they find you on social media to find out the fight information, where they could see you fucking live your dream by punching somebody in the face?
So follow me on my Instagram. It's bam_Soto. I will post that Monday. I think it's April 26th. As soon as they give me the go, I will post at what time it will be and who is broadcasting it. It'll be April 30th, guys. Go follow me and stick with me in this journey. I promise you it's going to be great.
Hell yes, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking amazing. I cannot wait. I'm literally chomping at the bit. Like, see, I'm chomping. I'm fucking chomping. So, again, Bylka, good skill. But I almost want to quote CM Punk. Not that I should quote CM Punk, but he said luck is for losers. So I'm going to say good skill. Good skill.
Thank you.
On April 30th. I can't thank you enough for doing this with us here. And also, since we're getting thank yous out, well, thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Byelka, you're subscribed, right?
Yes, go and subscribe, guys. Thank you guys all for watching and listening. And go follow us and subscribe, guys. Thanks.
Damn right. But if you didn't believe Byelka or me, and I don't know why you wouldn't, she's a badass motherfucker and she does badass shit. Well, also, here's another badass motherfucker in pro wrestler Zeta Zhang to convince you.
Hey, this is